as I inhale and exhale the blessing of the breath of life. Once again, as the Creator has allowed me to rise up in the realization of our reality that we have to create, manifest through our thoughts. We had to manifest this dream that Martin Luther King had that said it became a nightmare into reality in a harmonious way, a community way of collective individuals coming together to promote love and peace in our community. With that, I'd like to say good morning again. Humam Abdulmalik, which conscious chess moves, and Blackanized international Nubian consciousness. The realization of who we are as a people. Peace, power, and love. And in the background, I got a black butterfly. And it's about transformation. About transformation of the information that we have in our psychic, in our DNA, in our universe, to affect the universe, and to affect it in a positive way, scientifically, naturally, and genetically, in a natural, harmonious way, to purify our bodies and temples, purify our eating habits, our thinking habits, our talking habits, and let's circle in our community so that we can become that village that quote says, it takes a village to raise a child. It takes a village to come together in harmony so we can promote that harmony and peace. Yesterday I went to a program about missing children. Even though it's an international business, organized business, to still kidnap our children or our even men and women, but the most victimized portion of that is our children, our young sisters, for sex rings, body parts, melanin, because melanin is like $353 a gram. That mineral itself is more than gold, platinum, diamonds, and all that, because it's a gram, and that's what's in us. So we got this mineral-rich temple that people seek because they don't have it like ours is. I apologize. So it was a mother there that had her daughter missing for 6 or 7 years right here in Ward 8, but she hasn't given up. She hasn't given up, and some other mothers were there, but they won't give up. They won't give up that spirit or that connection of that mystical ties with parent and child. But it's our job in our community to protect our children as extended family members. We got to come together. That's why we got to unify, organize, and develop an infrastructure. We got to protect our children, our treasure, in our communities. That's what we have to do. Police can't do it. Nobody can do it. But us, as a people, united and organized, and village in our village, being strong. We know the community. We know what's odd in our community. We know if a stranger come in our community, we have to be protective and aware. That's why we got to be observant, watchful in our community, and be on the defense. Not watching everybody, but watching everybody. Everybody that we don't know, and sometimes who we know. We have to do that with love. respect, and dignity. See, we got a lot of problems going on in our community that we got to rid our community of. First, we got to purify ourselves. We got to make that transformation. We got to, through love and peace and harmony, through the energy that's in us, that divine energy in our temple, through understanding who we are. Understanding so we can understand and overstand, so we can reflect from above and from below. We can deal with our higher nature, our divine nature. We have to deal beyond our five senses and deal with the sciences of life, like we got a mystical wife. We got to understand that the God in us wants us to be God-like, according to the dictates of what our ancestors left. They say truth is etched in stone. And to understand, know thyself. And once you know thyself, you will understand the essence of the chambers of the pyramids of your mind and the qualities that we have as a people. We got to manifest those qualities from thought to the reality. Got to do this yesterday, as I always say, and if sometimes I'll be redundant or reiterate something, we need it, because we gotta clean our mind, because we've been brainwashed through time. We have to relearn what we learned, decode what was coded into us of this social narcotics, white supremacy and institutionalized racism and classism. We have to bring the family back together, the family ties back together. I'm going to cut this off because I think that's enough. I think my point was made about the black butterfly. So with that, I just want to say we have to create those family ties once again that was methodically socially engineered by those in control to attack the people with soul, because they're soulless. They put our women back in the 70s, late 60s. They elevated our women in positions better than the men. And the men and women ain't know how to handle that. They did it in two ways. When our women was on like welfare back in those times, early 60s and all that, they didn't want the man to come into the house, because if they do, they'll take you off welfare. So in that instance, they was chipping at the family structure. And because we used that, we became welfare slaves. That's the reality of it. But we weren't the only ones on it. See, the Neanderthal, so-called white person, European, they was on welfare more than us and receiving more benefits, way enormous welfare benefits, more so than us. See, but they always had a camera on us. The news always be about us, and it'd be negative news, not positive news. And that's where we be deceived at, disillusioned by this system with its social engineering. See, they're masters of this. They're masters of programming, mass brainwashing. Because they do it through the media. They do it through movies. They do it through the radio. They do it through everything, through a technique that we can't even see. Even the commercials on TV. We can't see them with the five senses, but subconsciously we pick it up, and it's replayed in our mind and in our conscious mind later on. And we be walking past something and say, oh, we get that thought. I'm going to get that. And you don't even know why you're getting it, but you're getting it. But it's all by design because they're masters of that. They're, like I said, they're masters of social engineering. They develop how to stimulate and motivate and how to have you going in a certain direction. But see, when the next phase of that thing tearing down the family was when they gave our sisters better jobs than they gave us. Put them in a high position, and they got the ego tripping. Not all of them, some of them thinking they were better and that they didn't need a man. But we always need each other. It ain't that a man need a woman or a woman need a man. We need each other to be in balance, in divine balance. But they tore that down because we wasn't as on the mass level, on the majority level. We weren't conscious back that time. We went through a phase in the 60s of coming together in unity and black power. Then we kind of we sold out because they started giving us that money through programs. So they programmed us and processed our mind. Like they have air condition. They got mind condition also. They condition your mind. Because air condition is manipulation of the air, the environment. So same thing apply in the mind. They manipulate your mind and condition your mind to have you going in a certain paradigm. And so when they did that, the family structure was all in array, But we have to come back and bring that family back and bring it black. If a sister make more money than us, so what? I'll give an example of one of the religious institutions, Islam. Sister Khadija had money. She was real wealthy. And they say Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, didn't have the money, but she supported this brother. And that same type of disposition should be in our sisters, working together and uplifting the brother until he can get on his feet. But the brother got to want to get on his feet. We're talking about a man, not just a male, because a male is just identification of the gender. But when you be a man, you be responsible. You be whatever level of economical level you're on, you be supported of the family. That's what we're talking about. We can come together in my eye. Those sisters be talking about they don't need a man because of their financial ability or whatever. We got to stop that. We got to divinely reflect. When you look in that mirror and you don't want a man, but you're always dealing with a man or men. And the same thing with our brothers. We always say we need a woman, but we don't. I say we don't deal with the one woman responsibly. In my eye, I think is a problem. Is a natural inclination problem, because I believe that our sisters being so beautifully, divinely developed and intelligently developed that we be mesmerized by them. But we just can't deal with the five senses in every situation, especially that situation, because we got to hold our sisters high and put them on a pedestal and pay homage to them, divine homage to them, because of what they went through and been through. See, this traumatic slave syndrome, see, that's in our DNA also, and we suffer from that because it was generation after generation, not only on our level that we cycle in our psychic, but it be pushed upon us about captivity and slavery and this and that by the powers that be in this, through the social narcotics, through the educational system, where we don't be taught anything about ourselves. The curriculum don't even do that. The curriculum is based on a Eurocentric perception of life. And it takes us out of the paradigm of who we are naturally as aborigines and indigenous of the whole planet Earth. You know, from Africa to America. It took us out of our culture, understanding. It took us out of our spiritual understanding. It took us out of all our mythology as a people, connected to who we are naturally and divinely. We got to get that back and build up our family structure and be more protective of our family. They say it takes a village to raise a child. It takes a village to protect our children. We have to be extended family members. Our young warriors, we got to overcome that ideology of thugs and gangsters and all that, and be warriors, be divine warriors. You can still live the life you like to live, but we living it in harmony and peace and development, social development. I want to say Galen, Coles, Hotep, Ashe, Salam Alaikum, Black Power. Well, whatever methodology that you practice, or whatever religion or way of life, whatever endeavor that you be, longs to be about me and you and us as melanated people with an African spirituality, so-called black, in the blackness of melanin, and the understanding of who we are as a people. We got to move forward in the context of that, economically, socially, spiritually, culturally. The only way that we're going to get our minds back where the minerals at, and develop on those lines. We got to be true to ourselves first and foremost. That way we can be true to everybody else. We got to be example of what we're saying and what we're talking on all levels. We got to be that dynamic. We got to be so real that the people can feel the energy. Because it's like, what's his name, Hakeem Matabutu. He said it's going to be, in this day and time, I believe, that it's going to be a new warrior, a new man, an African man with an African spirituality within this country, within our communities, that you can feel the energy, because he's going to look different, going to talk different, and all that. And we're that difference. We got to make that difference, no matter what paradigm we be in, or what religious persuasion we be in. Don't make no difference if you're a Christian, you're a Muslim, you're a Hebrew Israelite, you're conscious, your third eye open, and none of that matters unless we coming together in that divine energy of unity, unification. That's what matters. Whatever you practice, whatever you call the deity, this one infinite, universal, intelligent creator, whatever you call it, don't let it separate us. Don't let the doctrine of that religion turn us against each other, because it was used against us to enslave us. Christianity and Islam had us as slaves when whatever our lineage or connection with Akabu land or Africa, whatever you want to call it, that we can identify with, both of those major religions that we almost predominantly are the main people in it. I know at least half or more, maybe 65, 70%, 75% of those institutionalized religion as black people, melanated people, African or American of this hue, this dark hue. But we can't let the doctrine of those religions separate us and keep us apart based on the religious doctrine. Because as Malcolm said, I always refer to this statement, they're not killing us because of Christianity or Islam or whatever, because we Muslim, Christian, or Jew. They're killing us because of this blackness here. You got a mad face, don't be so mad or whatever. I don't know what that face was about, but it's good, it's all good. But what I'm saying is this here. Whatever we practice, we got to come together. We got to unify, because that's what it's about. It's about unification. Spirituality is about lifting up and bringing us together as a whole. It's not keeping us separated. It's bringing us together. So that's what we got to do as a people, as melanated people, as black people. And that's my perception, you know, and I live by that, and I'm going to live by that. No matter what nobody say or anything, nobody's going to validate me. Nobody's going to turn me around. See, I come too far. That's what it is, my brother. Religious trickology, because they're masters of trickology. That's what they do. And they do it on that was a statement by my brother, Galen Coles. He said religious trickology. So on that note and that point, I'm definitely saying you're definitely correct, because that's what they do. They do it on the highest level, though. Social engineering. Say they be in the laboratory at all times. And see, a lot of times they don't totally be in there by themselves. It ain't like the white man or the European or the Neanderthal doing the work. See, we go to their colleges and all that, the universities and the institutions, and we be in there doing the work as a job, you know, and we be, because they be paying money for those things, those positions. Just like the police, and, you know, they always be in new stuff, new cars, new homes and all that, because they play the slave catcher wages that, you know, they be satisfied with. And it be us against us. It be like the overseer, slave catcher. It don't make a difference. See, the European, through his social engineering, it's a historical thing. Once the people are conquered, they are assimilated into that conqueror's army or whatever. So it's no different here. But we got to overcome that patriotic disposition. We got to listen to our natural divine selves and overcome that trickology. We overcome that coonery. Like the brother just said, also train coons, but they emulate the European to become a Negropean. That's what we got to stop doing. But we got to stop attacking each other. We got to attack that. We got to attack those behind the curtain. We got to expose the Wizard of Oz. We got to expose these people that alternative fact, that are lies and master of deception. That's what we got to attack. That's who we got to attack, because they are the ones that are attacking us institutionally. And it's been going on for generation after generation after generation, because they're trying to establish. What did you hear about the last 6 or 7 presidents? You always heard that quote, something about a new world order. You always heard that. And it could probably go further back than that. If we look at some tapes or whatever, it go all the way back to, what was that, Roosevelt or something in 1932, when they had the Birth of a Nation. We know it's a racist movie, the first Birth of a Nation. I'm not talking about the one by this brother that did the thing depicting Nat Turner. The first Birth of a Nation was about a movie of the power of the Ku Klux Klan. They depicted one of us to rape one of their women, that the woman lied on us, and the Klan chased them down. It was a silent movie. And guess what? They showed this in the White House at that time. So that shows you at that time that the social narcotics, they were high off of racism and white supremacy. They promoted. But it also shows in this day and time, this cabinet, that this person that's in control, that's in the emperor's seat, they know, other politicians know the dispositions of some of these cabinet members, that they're racist, or they got connections to the Ku Klux Klan, but white nationalists. But they did just start that today when Trump became in office. they had that attitude and that disposition all the years that they've been in there, wherever position they've been in. It ain't just started when Trump came into office. This is an institutionalized perception because it's part of their nature. That's why we got to understand that we at war. We at a spiritual war, economical war, and we got to overcome it within ourselves through unification and spiritual elevation. Whatever religion that we follow. Because I go to a brother circle, right, at Union Temple. See, but I don't claim religion no more. I mean, I be Islamically inclined because I took my Kalima Shahada in 81. I got baptized and saved in 2014. And also about the Hebrew, I learned how to do that by reading the verses in the Bible and all that. But all that is not important to me as who I am as this spiritual being with contained in this temple that's related to my hue, to my people as a so-called black man, so-called descendant of Africa, and also a descendant right here of America, descended from the so-called Native Americans. We got to understand that all people come from us, and we was here first on all, like we was the first Japanese, the first Chinese. They got pictures that they don't show us, that they were dark like us. In England, the same thing. It's like this, and then that merging of interaction, cohabitation, and the weather and all that brought about this light hue. But they say it's, information out there that they was drafted and all that. If you go into the annals of the Nation of Islam, they say that Yaqub drafted them. And if you go through other, it's this information that these people are really soulless. That's why they can do what they done to us and want us to forgive and forget. It's like if they smacked I don't know what out of us. In this day and time, a brother I met, a very knowledgeable brother, this is his analogy. He said if it's three of us standing there and there's a white man in between two brothers, that if the European Nagathor smacked I don't know what out of one of the brothers, that brother gonna smack the brother and not gonna touch the European. If it smack him again, that brother's not gonna smack the European back, he's gonna smack the brother back. And that's what we do. We be harmful to each other when we know the source of our pain and hurt come from this European. Because they control everything, but we can take that control back. Because what they did, they allow us to become economical empowered. A lot of us, our athletes, our entertainers, if we start pooling and spending our money wisely, we don't need 15 or 20 cars, 14 houses, unless we got our families in there or communities that we putting in them houses, the homeless people or something like that, or we letting other people use the cars to benefit from. But you as an individual with all that, for what? For show? And you can't take none of them with you, none of that stuff with you when you transmutate. Why are you hoarding it? Because you've been trained to be that way. You've been trained to be competitive instead of cooperative through the social engineering. Let me see. He made a statement that the brother just told him about the new world order, the golden race, the new black existence. Yeah, I can relate to that, because as they try to create their new world order that they've been working on for years. I know when I was younger, I read the book, The Protocols of the Learned Elder of Zion. It's a book that if you look at it, you can see the phases of what they've been doing. See, they've been tripping at this political system and the educational, economical, everything is a plot and plan to get to the point where they want their purpose with their this mad scientist type disposition. It's like they destroying the educational system, they destroying the political system, and they have all these other systems, communists and all that type. The creators of that, through the Rothschilds and the international bankers, you know, the 13 families and the Vatican. All these people are in cahoots with England and even America. The people at the top echelon, the vampire multi-billionaires, trillionaires. You got a couple of those. They got a couple of people on the planet Earth. They can give everybody like $1 million or $2 million and still won't hurt their pocket. It'd be like choke change to them. But they don't want to do that because they want it like it is. They don't want an equal playing field. They don't want it. They want us to be separated. That's why they teach us how to be competitive instead of cooperative. That's why we got to instill the principles of Kwanzaa throughout the year. Umoja, Kukachakalia, Ujema, Nia, purpose. Nia, and Imani. We got to instill those principles in our lives throughout the year, not just during the holiday season. And we got to stop practicing all those holidays because it's all about money. But it's a way of making money, but the concept behind it, you know, there's even like Valentine's Day. I told us that I was going to have the information about what it's about the Wolf Clan or whatever, how they come together and have them orgies about a virgin and this and that. That's what it's about on the other side of it. We got to realize that, and I promise that I'll have that information tomorrow. I should have had it today, so I got to be a man of my word, a brother of my word, and can't be delinquent in my word. I got to be right on top of my game. So I'll definitely try to have that for us tomorrow in my busy schedule today. But I'll recall to do that. But in essence, we have to take over our communities. Because with the slave catchers, so-called police, there is a job to them. And we have to live it. We live in it. When we come outdoor every day, we should be an example to everyone in our community. We should know our neighbors. We should know at least everybody that live close vicinity to us. We should know their name by first name and last name. We should know their children. We should know who a stranger in our community. That's how close we need to be, how observant we need to be, how watchful we need to be. See, we just can't come home from work and get that 6-pack of liquor or whatever and sit back and look at TV, cut the TV on, be programmed by the TV. We need to interact with each other. We need to check on each other. We need to ask, how you doing? How's your day? You know, that's what we need to do every day, to see what we're going through as a people in our community. That's how we take control of our community. That's how we unify and organize, through the essence of the divine energy that's in us. And I'm not, as I always say, I want us to know that I'm not a celebrity. I'm not that. I'm not rich or economical free. I don't have that. But what my wealth is what I, by divine nature, have my lineal wealth, my connection to my ancestors through their information that they left. But it's an everyday process. And I got to learn. I got to go into esoteric knowledge and arcane knowledge. I got to go where no man dares to go, you know, in the lane of metaphysics and all that type of stuff. That sometimes it may be strange or whatever, but it ain't strange to us because we are universal. We are universal. So everything that's in this realm belongs to us. We have to acquire all knowledge to be knowledgeable, so that when we walk and when we talk, we are heard, and that truth emanates from us. The truth of a divine essence that people can feel. They feel the truth. You feel the truth. You know when you speak the truth because you get that feeling. You get that coolness in your temple, in your body. That get that tingling sensation. And sometimes it brings tears to your eyes. because we are warriors of spiritual context, mystical warriors. We are griots, mystical griots. And we reach a certain level, we become anointed. And we develop that Christ-like disposition. Christ is just a title. And that's when you become anointed in the light, a divine light, eternal light. And you speak it. You walk it and you talk it. And you promote it. So everybody you run in contact with, you trying to elevate them, stimulate them. Because you ain't in a egotistical, self-centered, arrogant state of mind. You don't have ulterior motives. Your motives be pure, become pure. And you really be about the development of our community because you went through a development of yourself. You went through the process of know thyself. Then you became to understand the inner verse to affect the universe. You see, it's inside and outside, above and below. And we got to go in that universal paradigm to understand and so that we be fortified from a divine perspective along the lines of what our ancestors left us in books, in pictures, from the pyramid to the Amaleks in South America. See, they find stuff and they don't give us all the information. They done went in ancient Kemet and Timbuktu. They trying to destroy those libraries over there. Now, the so-called Arabs, the so-called Muslims, trying to destroy everything, what they call idolatry or whatever. But this is a history of a people, a true story of a people that they left for us to see. And most of it be us who left evidence of who we are and what we are, all on this whole planet Earth. We got to realize that. We got to, like, plug into it. Excuse me. We got to, like, plug into it from attaining knowledge of it and accepting it. Because this is like the age of Aquarius. Those sciences of astrology and all that, the effects of the planets and the energy and all that, we got to accept that as fact because it's a science that they hid from us and they commercialize it like they commercialize everything. Commercialize lies, alternative facts. They're saying he lied. They want to dress it up, make it sound so sophisticated. And when the people hear it, they ain't going to know that they're talking about lying because they're trying to talk over our head. You know, that's what they do. They're manipulators. See, and we gotta counter that and be stimulators, motivators. We gotta be agitators so that we can overcome the dilemma that we're faced with. As strong individuals, we got to develop a foundation, an economical foundation. We got to develop entrepreneurs. We got to teach our children how to deal with money because we mismanage our money. We become consumerized. We become consumer realistic because that's all we do. We get all this money and we spend it. We get contraptions. The athletes do it, play games like big kids, be playing games, videos, and all day long and all that. And they got millions of dollars. And they waste it. They give it right back to the system. It's like they give it to you and they got a vacuum cleaner. They're sucking it out your hand. And then they give you one of these Niagara females that they trick you out of that away. And then our sisters get one of them Niagara males and the money go on that away. Instead of coming to us to be a resource for us as a people, we become unresourceful by way of manipulation, by consumerism. Instead of being producers and pooling our money, the athletes, the entertainers, and Ofries and the Tyler Perrys and the Mayweathers, and we know they almost billionaires. The dude Jay-Z, what is the other guy in California? All these people got money, but they're under contract. That's why they can't go black. They go black a little bit. They don't go black enough. They got to go black to establish a foundation that we need, because we know the TV influences us. We know the music influences us. Oh, man, BET used to be about us. But it ain't. They were sold by money. And what did they do with the money? We need to establish communities. We need to buy land. We need to grow our own food. We need to do that now, because they got fake food. They got this processed food. Processed food is like processing your mind. You know how you used to get the process in your head and all that. It's just changed. But it's being processed by those who's at the control of the process, right? And it's like the air condition. You know, it conditions the air to change the air. And it conditions your mind at the same time. Now, I'm just using that as a simile. How, you know, you can turn on the air conditioner, get cool air. You can turn on the heater, but the air conditioner is more what I'm trying to say in a symbolic way, that the air is being conditioned. It's being changed. And the same thing when they condition your mind. If you don't be your own conditioner, you don't be your own teacher, what you accept, then we're going to be misled, like we've been over the years with this social narcotics, because we be going to their institutions. And a good example of that today is this so-called Secretary of Education. She is out of her league because she don't know nothing about that field. She's something else. But he got all these people that's in positions that are out of positions because that's not their field. Harry Carson, in his position, he don't know nothing about that. He a doctor or whatever. See, we got to realize that. And so when we go to the institutions of higher learning and we become doctors and engineers and all those other things, those great things, we can't just go back to them and we got to pay them for their education and all that. But we don't use our education and our knowledge for us, a foundation or infrastructure for us. We just get a job and work for them to perpetrate this madness year after year, generation after generation. It got to stop. And this is the time to do it, because they are off balance for real. And they trying to implement their thing with overkill. And they got, what his name, Simple Simon. You know that's quote, Simple Simon. If you can't see this in this guy, you ain't looking. You really got walking around with your eyes wide shut. This man talk about like doing Black History Month to a group of black people, or I say Negro pins, I'll say that. Talking about Frederick Douglass like he was alive. Then his press secretary tried to back him up, and he was a Simple Simon too, because they be dumbfounded. He tried to promote like he didn't know like Frederick Douglass was dead. And that's crazy. That's insane. That shows you how out of touch they are with us as a people. They don't know our story because of what? Alternative facts. His lies, everything is based on his lies. Their history is based on his lies because they stole our story to promote themselves, to uplift themselves and degrade us, to put us down. Oh, yeah, Mansa Musa, yeah. Yes, brother, he mentioned that name. Mansa Musa was one of the richest brothers on the planet Earth at his time. He traveled across Central Africa going to perform Hajj, and everywhere he went, changed the whole economical balance of every country that he went through. But we got to rise up. It's the time. Because everybody is hurting. They're stealing our children for sex rings and melanin body parts. Most of the brothers that got killed, we know for sure, Trayvon Martin, when they found his body, it had been cut up, body parts missing. The brother that was in that school, Jim, same thing. But they don't say nothing about that. Because the people high up, they want body parts to sustain their lives. They don't want to die because they live in a life of deities. And they just want to stay in that position. They don't want to go nowhere. And they trying to get our melanin because they know the magic of melanin, how it enhances your perception of things. How when it's stimulated, the pituitary and the pineal gland is stimulated, it opens up that third eye that past the five sense, past the physical eyes. You see with understanding. You see with the knowledge of the divine knowledge that's instilled in your DNA. They don't want you to do that because they know we're masterminds. We have multi-geniuses. They don't tell you nothing about them 12 and 14-year-old children, melanated children that's in college already. Their IQ is off the Richter scale. They don't want to tell you. They promote all this violence in our community because they're the ones that perpetrate it. They do it is by design. They manipulate our psychics to where we become under robot control and don't even know it. We don't even know it's all by design by these master stimulators. What is that? The bell curve. They masters of it. Read the bell curve. It's a slow read, but just read it. Read the protocols of the learned elders of Zion. Read Ma'at Kemetic Soulism. Read Divine Providence. The book Divine Providence gives you the whole breakdown from the Rothschilds, the Vatican, and all that. Oh, the brother mentioned a long time ago, I think that was the late 60s, early 70s or something like that, with the brother in Atlanta, and the brother Wayne Williams was charged for those killings. It was a lot of about 26 children back in Atlanta back in that day and time that I can recall, and they arrested this brother Wayne Williams for those and charged him with all those slayings. But it was going on back then. It was going on back before then. But we see it's so, especially in the South, we caught HELL in the D South. I mean, right out of slavery and all that up into the 60s and all that, because we were still passive back then, and everything they did to us. It was a movie about this lady that was working and she was continuously raped by this dude, and she got tied up and killed this dude because she wanted to go to her. She accepted it, right? But she had to get to her child one day, and the dude wanted to cohabitate, and she ain't wanted it. And he pulled a gun out, and she somehow the other got the gun and killed him. But then the story came out how he was continuously raping. They still convict this sister, and it's a true story, and it's hurtful. We got to realize these people have a demonic agenda. I don't know. Let me see. And I don't know what that number is, 7981, my brother. But anyway, we have to realize that this is a war that we're going through. It's a spiritual war, economical war, and it's based on institutionalized racism and white supremacy. It's based on these Cabo nations. They got a plan in effect. It's on the black Jesuits in the Vatican. And the Vatican is behind it. We got to understand that they have blood sacrifices at their ceremonies, at the high echelon of their Masonic dealings and all that, their demonic, satanic ceremonies that they have. We have to be aware of all this. That's why we got to be watchful in our communities. That's why we have to be united in our effort to control our communities. Again, I'll say that the police is just a job with them. We live. This is our life. Our communities is where we live at. So we have to know each other. We got to be neighborly to each other, so we know who in our community. We got to know who in our community. We got to know if it's a stranger in our community. We pick that up just like that. We got to reinforce our children to be aware of these strangers. Not only that, we got to reinforce in our children the right nature of things. So we can't promote an unnatural disposition, because they'll be susceptible to those strangers or the talk of those strangers or pedophiles and all that on that side. Then on the other side, if they're going against their nature, they can get tricked up like that. That's why we gotta we gotta demonstrate a natural inclination of divine energy and perception in our community, from the children on up. We got to know everybody, and now everybody got to be an extended family member, because it says a village, it takes a village to raise a child. It takes a village to raise not just that one child, but all children, because we got to be extended family members. You were saying something about the phalluses being cut off and all that. It was about melanin way back then, you know, and the CDC got a lot to do with all that. These institutions by these Europeans, these Neanderthals, all interconnected. All the laboratories, they create diseases, and that's like they created, it said, HIV virus or that syndrome up in Fort Detrick, a military laboratory for it was, they're supposed to be, again, they say they create stuff that's supposed to affect us, but it affect everybody, and it get out of hand. I'm just trying to promote us to be together and to unified, because I love us. I love my people. I love my people sincerely, through divine understanding on the pathway of our ancestors. It's instilled in me. It's instilled in me by the dream that Martin Luther King had when he said that it became a nightmare, because he came to the realization of this demonic nation. He went to the mountaintop. He wanted to try to mold and shape a mentality, a psychic of peace and unity, of integration. But he said, through this integration, he said he might be leading us into a burning house. And the house is still on fire. It's like Nero playing that violin in the Roman times, while it's burning all around him. He's so insane. And see, this is based on Roman, like the Roman Senate and all that. Like even the Super Bowl, there'd be like emperors or you know, setting up in the Coliseum, watching the Bloods, but watching the gladiators fight. That's what it's all about. In the Octagon, where they be fighting and kicking and all that, or about all that. It's based on that. I heard somebody talking about somebody getting $100 million to fight. Two human beings, two individuals getting $100 million. If they got that much money, why can't they spread that money out? So if they giving them $100 million apiece, they got to be getting what? Maybe almost $1 billion a gate. And what? That's to watch the people throw their hands and kick and all that, trying to knock each other out. Come on, man. They can use that to build communities up across the country. But they don't want to do that, because they don't want an equal playing field. That's why we got to make it ourselves. That's why our entertainers and movie stars and whoever else has reached that level or that plateau of financial freedom, come together as a collective energy and establish this infrastructure that we need as a people in this political climate. Look at the weather. This is February. This supposed to be wintertime. And look how hot it is. We got to realize that they got hopped and they can mess with the weather. And we also got to realize the concept that they talking about global warming and all that. We also got to understand the divine effects of the creator or whatever. But we got to realize in our reality what we can put our hand on, what we can control. We got to develop that. We got to manifest thoughts of unity, of development, of entrepreneurship. We got to create jobs for our youth. that our young warriors on them street corners that have an eternal war against themselves for no good reason at all. We got to reach our brothers because they're part of our growth and development. They're part of protecting our communities. They're intimate part of that. We got to come together and unify. So with that, I'm going to wait till tomorrow, if I'm so blessed to come back from my rest, to attest to the fact of our greatness as a people. When we plug into our greatness of understanding the universe and who we are genetically, naturally, the energy of God is in our temple. And we got to realize that. And we got to overcome all the idiosyncrasies and all the baggage that we have. We got to go in that trunk in our mind and get it out, purify it. All our idiosyncrasies that keep us in bad relationships and not doing the right thing in those relationships, respecting our women and the women respecting our men, and pooling our resources, being family. And whatever position we be in, it don't be from we don't have ulterior motives. It don't be from a position of arrogance or egotistical self-centeredness. It don't be from a Machiavellian type mentality. It don't be from having ulterior motives, as I've said. We gotta be real. We gotta come together on realness, on unity, based on unity. We got to overcome our idiosyncrasies and be real. And with that, I say, with that breath of life of the Creator that's put in him, I was cut off. I just want to come back and close. I want to say, in love, in peace, in power. Can I do that again? I said in peace, love, and power for us as black men, as African descendants, as people in America, Aborigine, indigenous of America. I say we come together and unify, organize, and develop our communities. We unite and network worldwide, because this is a worldwide pandemic that we're up against. The war is worldwide. And we need to connect with those people that about us, have the same problem that we have. But we got to heal ourselves within our communities and then with our group or nationality. And I say it, I love y'all, motivate somebody, stimulate somebody, and have a great day, a God-given day. Because he give us that greeting, Grace Jones. I apologize, you tuning in. I don't know how long you've been on, but I was cut off, so I'm ending up now. And you can just review what we talked about earlier on the previous video that's not connected to this. And that's with anybody who just joining us now or been on. That's what happened. It cut off on its own. It wasn't by my hand. Good morning, my sister Linda Hart. It used to be my co-worker at Motion Picture Association, and always doing the thing. Everybody have a great day in love and peace and understanding who we are as a people, connecting and unifying and coming together, taking control of our communities, taking the control of all our institutions. No matter what we practice as a Christian, Muslim, or Jew, we gotta unify as a people, melanated people, in love and understanding our temple and the divine energy that's within our temple as African descendants, as the indigenous of America. And we just got to stay strong and just be watchful in our communities in this day and time, because we in a strange political climate with strange people at the helm that don't even know nothing about us as